Happy Sunday out there, Vol Nation. Frank Rock, House of Orange Sports Channel. The big topic going into the summer and going into the fall is going to be Tennessee in the quarterback position. That's going to be the topic. Who's it going to be? Why is it going to be that quarterback? Well, what I'm going to get into today, I'm not going to look at video because there's really, it's kind of an apples to oranges comparison in terms of video. We could go with college highlights versus high school highlights. And to me, I don't think that does justice, but I will talk about what I think each quarterback brings to the table. And then at the end, I'll tell you who I think the starter is going to be on now, and we'll work up to it. Make sure you hit the like. One of the biggest things you can do to help out the content, if you like, is just share it out. Really appreciate that. And if you're a returning subscriber, or if you found that you like the content, hit that subscribe button. You'll get latest notifications. Baseball, I'm still debating what I'm going to do today on it. I do know for sure moving forward, starting possibly today, I'm really thinking serious about going live today at the conclusion of the Tennessee-Auburn series. Definitely will be the rest of the way this week, midweek and weekend moving forward. That is the plan for it. Not saying it'll be every game, but it'll be that. That's the plan for it. But here we go. Of course, the quarterback battle shaping up. It's going to be Joey Aguilar, former Appalachian State quarterback, short-time UCLA quarterback, but never actually played an official game for them. So we're just going to call him an Appalachian State quarterback. George McIntyre, redshirt freshman, true freshman, and Jake Merklinger, redshirt freshman. That's going to be the battle. Really, the only college video we've got of McIntyre and Merklinger is there's some spring game highlights up on YouTube. That's the only thing I've been able to find. And in those situations, especially like McIntyre, there's a lot of backups in and stuff. So Aguilar, again, lots of college highlights. I was watching a film guy break him down a little bit just a minute ago. So here's what we're looking at going into it. Obviously, here's the obvious. Aguilar has the experience. 2 years in a row, Appalachian State over 3,000 yards passing. Now the INTs were up last year. So couple things I see, and this is really the common thing I see from people familiar with the Appalachian State program. And they're both three letters that start with W. It's either wow or it's WTF. That's kind of the common thing I've seen about that with Joey Aguilar. So it's like he has those wow plays where, and I saw some film guy, he throws a dart in between four guys. So he's got a good arm. He doesn't have a Joe Milton or a Nico arm based on what I've seen, but he has a really good arm still yet. And then he has that moment where he may throw a pick six, and it's like, what are you doing here as well? But one thing I noticed with Aguilar and what he brings to the table, he goes through his progressions. He is comfortable in the pocket, and if the pocket breaks down, he can't escape it. And one thing as well with his escape, he's not afraid of contact. And that seems to be the theme of all three guys. They're not afraid of contact. And with Aguilar, he has the arm. So these wide receiver screens, some of these plays that Tennessee likes to run, these sideline plays, he has the arm for that. All three quarterbacks have the arm for that. So, and, sometimes it's like one of the plays I watched, he basically threw a 12-yard out, but it was almost like it was a 30-yard out, like the film guy said when I was watching it, because it was from the right hash, but he threw an out to the left. So, 12 yards straight distance, probably about 30 yards on the angle they went with it. Good arm. He can, based on what I've seen, there's not a throw he can't make. He can throw the deep ball. He checks down a lot when needed. And one thing about it, too, I noticed, of course, in these videos, is he didn't necessarily have the best offensive line that it was. And they played from behind a lot. So at that point, you're basically in a gunslinger mentality. And, that can be a good thing, a bad thing. Some of the highlights I was watching was East Carolina, and they'd gotten down by 2 scores in that game. He come out there and he threw for over 400 yards in the game, threw 2 touchdowns, threw 2 picks as well. But what Aguilar is going to bring is obviously experience. That's going to be the big one, what he brings to the table over Merklinger and McIntyre. That experience is unmatched. And he has played, against good teams. He's played against Clemson, Miami, North Carolina last couple of years. So, no, that's not SEC play. And we know SEC play is a whole different animal on it. But he has played against good competition. So that's what he brings. He can make the throws. He goes through his progressions because, I thought last year, how often did we see progressions made? It was not often. It was not much at all. So you've got a guy to go through the progressions here. You're going to have what I feel should be a pretty good offensive line. He's going to have more talent around him than he's had at any point, and by quite a wide margin as well. You think about it last year at Appalachian State, his coach got canned. So that tells you it was not a good year on it. But he's still, again, over 3,000 yards on a team that was not very good last year. Again, when the pocket breaks down or if the opportunity is presented, he can make the plays on it. And there were numerous plays I've seen too. Of course, pretty much everybody runs a shotgun offense now, but he runs, I guess, maybe his RPO, he will keep it and run it in. So it's he brings a lot of qualities that we've seen to the table. So he can break it down. Like I said, he's not afraid of contact either. That's what Aguilar is going to bring to the table on it. Now, Jake Merklinger, I think coming out of spring before Tennessee had a transfer quarterback, I think it was pretty well thought that Merklinger's QB1. Now, here's the thing about it. We don't have much video on Merklinger as a college quarterback. It's a lot of high school. The high school stuff, got a good arm. Again, he's not afraid of contact. He played for the school he played for in Savannah. Some of the highlights was Max Prep's highlights. He was playing both ways because he had a pick, and when he took off running, he run over a guy going out of bounds. There was another one, they threw a screen out, and he come up and knocked the crap out of a guy. So Merklinger is not afraid of contact, and he's right now, if you look at it, there was some spring highlights like showed McIntyre and Merklinger warming up before the spring game. Merklinger, to me, looks quite a bit bigger from a bulk standpoint than McIntyre does. So, that's obviously having a year in the weight room, a year in a college weight room at that too. So really at this point is probably getting closer to a year and a half since he enrolled. He was an early enrollee last year. So, I've said it the whole time, even when Nico was here and they signed McIntyre, Faison Brandon in the fold. I've said the entire time, and I've been consistent. I said, I would not discount Jake Merklinger in this. So, we saw him a little bit in college games. Here's the thing with him. He'll run the football. He's not afraid to run it. He's got a good arm. He can throw the deep ball. He can throw, that sideline route. He can make all the throws there as well. George McIntyre, same thing. You look at his – here was the consistent thing I noticed about McIntyre's film. His offensive line was not good that he played with. He was scrambling for his life numerous times. And the thing of it was he could get out and make a play with it. McIntyre can run. He can get his way out of trouble. All three guys are athletic enough, and they can, defense has got to stay real, or all three guys can bring it down. McIntyre, I'm not sure who has the best arm of the three. Part of me wants to say McIntyre does, but I think they all three have good arms, and I could be wrong on that one. But McIntyre, is look at some of the spring highlights, some of the stuff he threw. He threw the corner balls well as he hit Radarius Jackson. He hit Van Dorselaer for touchdowns. I like McIntyre's touch on it. I liked what he brought as far as his touch on the football. I thought he made, good throws as well. Now, there were those moments too where there were freshman-like plays. But, there was one where he started scrambling back and they were closing on him. He was able to get it out of bounds, though, so he didn't go back and take the sack on it. But one of the thing is, how comfortable is he in a pocket? Because he's been used to having to run for his life at Brentwood Academy last year based on the highlights that I watch on it. To me, this whole thing's going to come down to experience. I really think, because, the question is, would Merklinger, will he be ready this year? Will McIntyre be ready as a true freshman here as well? I think it's Aguilar in the end. I think his experience, again, he's a guy he has played against, ACC teams. He has played against good competition along the way. He has not had the kind of talent around him that he's going to have in Knoxville. Now, he doesn't have to be Hendon Hooker necessarily, but he needs to be better than Joe Milton and Nico Iamaleava was. And I think there's a really good chance that could happen. Now, the big thing's going to be, and Josh Heupel said it last week, consistency. That's going to be it. Like I said, there's the wow plays and there's the what in the world plays. That's kind of what I've read it from numerous Appalachian State fans. Somebody I know had a family member play for them the last couple of years, knows Aguilar pretty well, spoke very highly of him, and said kind of what I said. He's not had that kind of talent. He didn't have the talent around him at App State. And, App State's normally a pretty good football team. So for them to be down like that, but every time lately they've gotten a good coach, he's left after a year or two. So that plays into it at some point. Obviously the portal playing into things now. Guys, get that chance to go to an SEC or something they do. To me, it's going to come down to that experience in the end. A guy who's been in heat of the moment college football games, a guy who has been a QB1 for 2 years at Appalachian State. This won't be his first competition as well. Yeah, we can look at it. Well, UCLA picked Nico over Aguilar. It is what it is in that regard. I don't know who would be better this year, but here was my red flag with Nico the whole time last year. It wasn't the freshman mistakes, because he was going to make them. It was that I literally did not see any improvement from the beginning of the year to the end. I literally saw nothing on that. A lot of times, guys we've seen over the years, younger dudes, you'll see that progression. We didn't see that with him last year. He was the same Nico from, and I'm not counting the non-conference games, he was the same Nico from Oklahoma. And then I am going to count Ohio State because that was the playoffs. He was a freshman quarterback who made pretty much I wouldn't say zero improvement, but it was minimal improvement. When I look at it again, I see 3 guys now, getting back to the quarterbacks on the roster. 3 guys who can make throws, who's, had the live action. That to me is what it's going to come down to as well. But one thing going against Aguilar is the playbook. Merklinger has been in the system now going on his second year. McIntyre has been in it, a little bit longer, but he's gone through a spring practice with it as well. There's 3 talented guys in that room. That should make you feel pretty good about it there. Tennessee absolutely had to have another quarterback, whether he was coming as a starter or whether he come as a backup. I believe it'll be Joey Aguilar. But with that said, if he's inconsistent, will they make that change along the way? You're coming out of the gates playing Syracuse. Syracuse was pretty good last year, but I know McCord is gone. So what is, and they've lost some good players here in the spring portal as well. Their top wide receiver and defensive tackle. So that's a game to me Tennessee should come out and win. But, that's a lot more of a test than, say, a Chattanooga or a Kent State. So I don't mind it. I don't mind that game, but we'll find out a little bit more then. If Aguilar wins the job, and if he's not consistent, I think he's a one-year guy. I wouldn't hesitate to give a Merklinger or McIntyre, whoever wins the backup, I would not hesitate to give them the job. My thought on it is it'll be Aguilar, then Merklinger, and they'll try to redshirt George McIntyre. That's just based on what we've seen with Nico redshirted. And he was, a lot of people thought he might even come in and give Milton a run for his money. That was never the case. But, and we've seen it going back to that one too. Who's Heupel going to take? The veteran or the young guy? We've seen this play out before on it. And, of course, we saw it with Milton and Hendon Hooker too. And, what I've seen people question that one, I've even seen the VolQuest guys say people who were there said Milton won the job fairly. But obviously we know how that turned out in the end. But it'll be fun. Be fun to watch. I think we'll be solid at quarterback. I think I keep getting a little more amped up for the season. I'm excited about it. And we'll talk more about the positions along the way. Obviously, pool's still open. Tennessee's still trying with the wide receiver. I don't know that it's going to happen, and I don't really know that injuries would be the biggest thing on it. But can you get somebody in there just for depth purposes? They're not looking for a starter along the way. But I'm going to wrap up on that one. Again, I think I'm right now, I'll post something in a little bit. I've got to check on some things that I got going on today, but there's a good possibility I may be live after the Tennessee-Auburn today. If not today, definitely starting Tuesday night, midweek, going live the rest of the way as much as possible. And now I know next Sunday's Mother's Day, so that one probably won't be next Sunday, won't be live, but for the rest after that, plan is going live along the way. Have a great rest of your day. Frank, House of Orange, last but not least, go Vols.